I'm Leon Taylor, and I'm recently just launched a website. This website, McNairy Now Info.com. It is my hope that we can bring the people of McNairy to you by way of video, by way of webcast, and that everybody can get an opportunity to put some faces with some names and to see where we are as a county as a source of information. I've tried to centralize our site as much as possible. There are links there. Hopefully, it is our desire to talk with each mayor in McNairy County, many of the county employees, and many just everyday people to share uh, what McNairy County is about, for people to put a face with a name, a personality, with a position, so we can be in what I call the know. And basically, this comes out of my need to know. And I figured if I need to know, there are others that would like to know as well. So, because I've been working with video for some years, I thought to start sharing this and put it online, and hopefully it will help us all be in the know, where we can make sound decisions about some of the things that really concern us. I was able this week to video one of the commission meetings, which is already up and online. But I thought it'd only be fair to go after the meeting with a follow-up and interview and talk with Mayor Ronnie Brooks to let you get his take on the condition of the state of McNairy County now, because it seems to be a very serious state right now. And I had he was very candid. Matter of fact, I was anticipating maybe a 10-minute, no more than 15-minute interview, but it went on over close to an hour. And I just want to share that with you. Look at it, and you can. It was very informative. I learned a lot of things about the county government that I was not aware of. And sometimes when we got all the facts, we can make sound decisions. And sometimes we may not be as judgmental for people who are in leadership roles. So I want you to look at this and let the mayor speak for himself. He was very candid about the state of McNairy County, and he kind of explained it, I think, very well to those of us who may not understand the all in all about how the county have to do business. So we're going to go to that interview now, and I hope that it will be informative. And I thank Mayor Brooks for allowing me the opportunity to come in his office and him to sit and to talk with me in such a lengthy conversation. So we're going to Mayor Brooks' office right now and let Mayor Ronnie Brooks tell us about the state of McNairy County as it relates to our budget. We also were able to ask him about the hospital and some other things that I think will be of interest to all of us. So let us go to that interview now. Mayor Ronnie Brooks, I'm in the office. I'm Leon Taylor with McNairy Now Info.com. Let's go to the office of Mayor Ronnie Brooks.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about the issues with the county, and kind of let you know where we are and what's going on with in what direction we're going to try to go. First off, I think we need to explain to the general population that there is a serious budget issue with the county. And of course, we've pursued obviously avenues of getting more revenue to eliminate the problem, and of course obviously that was not acceptable. I think generally there's a lot of information that has gotten out into the community that is maybe misunderstood and has grown to the level that it's just wrong information. Uh, I think one thing I need to address is funding for the county and how much operational money that the county actually has to work with. And the best way that I can explain it is, there was an article in the paper or an ad about a year ago that said that the county basically was flush with cash, that we had at least $10 million funds. Well, that was correct. Actually, it's closer to $11 million. And I think the general public doesn't understand how that works. The county doesn't have $11 million just to spend arbitrarily. Very first thing out of the chute, out of that $11 million is collected through the county. The school system gets the lion's share of that, which is about $4 million. And then you go on down for the administration of justice, which is close to a little over $1 million. And our highways is close to $2 million. And then when it gets down to the county general, which pays all the bills for the county. That means utilities, insurance for employees, salary, all come out of the county general fund. The county's general fund is $2,900,000, basically. And you say, well, that sounds like a lot of funds, but by the time that you pay all the bills that the county is responsible for, those funds run out pretty quickly. We don't have any other sources of revenue coming in other than the tax dollars, property tax dollars. We have somebody asked me, said, well, why couldn't you use sales tax dollars? You should be collecting plenty of sales tax fund. Well, we're unique to other counties. McNairy County has 11 municipalities that create sales tax. So by the time those funds are distributed among those municipalities, here's a good example. The county actually brought in sales tax, out of almost $400,000 in sales tax, $16,000. And that's pretty average of what the county gets out of sales tax. We don't get any, the issue about the liquor tax, the city of Selmer, that's not going to affect the county. The only thing that it will probably affect is an increase probably in our sales tax, which goes back to what I just said. Then that's distributed out among those municipalities. Obviously, Selmer is going to receive the lion's share of that. The only thing we might realize is the sales tax. The liquor tax, the county won't receive any of that. So that's not a fix. So what I'm trying to say is the only source of revenue we have for the county is property tax sales. And that basically represents right now it's 48%. Excuse me, 48% of the county pays property tax. And of course the issue about the wheel tax, nobody likes taxes. I don't like taxes. But when it comes to the county not being able to meet its responsibilities to provide services for the community, then we have to consider that. The best way I can put it is when you run your household from year to year, you have to have an idea of some form of growth to be able to make those payments through your salary or extra work. Well, the county can't operate that way. We can't do that. We can't get an extra job to make up a shortfall. We can't control what's going to happen with that budget. Just like anybody that has a home budget, things come up that's unexpected. And the best example I can give on the county budget-wise is the sheriff's department. I always give this one. If someone is incarcerated, it doesn't matter. We pay for their medical care when they're in our jail. And if someone has a major illness, heart attack, recently we had a young lady who had a baby that was incarcerated. That can be an extreme blow to the budget. That could be anywhere from maybe budgeted $110,000 a year for medical, and all of a sudden it balloons up to $120,000 to $130,000 that we had no idea was going to happen. And there's a lot of issues that happen in the county. Of course, that would come out of the county general fund, which we were talking about earlier, where we pay all the bills. upkeep on buildings. We historically have not ever really budgeted enough or been in a position where we could budget enough money to have a maintenance for our county buildings. The most that the county has ever put in our county fund for maintenance of buildings is around $50,000. And when you've got 9 buildings and with some age on them, then that's going to happen. Right now we're looking at just the courthouse alone to even get it dry and what needs to be done to it's about $350,000. We already know that the library has major issues, which is close to $300,000. So I know this is kind of generalized, very generalized, how the county operates, but it's very hard to explain to the general public what all is involved with county government. We're audited every year. We have an auditor that stays with us for 3 months. Matter of fact, they're here now, auditing our books. A lot of the findings that we've had in the past are basically have always been there. They're repeats of what we've known has always been an issue. Funding, of course, like I said, everything is paid out of this office for the county general fund. We're responsible for that. All the upkeep of the county's buildings, utilities, phone, employee benefits, salaries, insurance, workman's comp, all come out of this one department. And if the sheriff goes over because of some issue he can't predict, then it's going to come out of this office, not his. So the overage is going to show up in the county mayor's office. And historically, it always has, because we're responsible for that budget. And of course, we do not have a central accounting department, so it all falls under this department here. And basically, the county's budget has around 1,500 to 2,000 lines in that budget, line items that have to be watched. And it's almost impossible to watch every one of those. Obviously, we have bookkeeper. We have to contract with someone to come in basically that helps us with our books. Not near what the capacity it needs to be, but it's what we can afford to make sure that we reconcile our books on a monthly basis. I really don't know a better way to explain it to you, but now the county faces probably one of the worst budget crisis in its history this year. We have no source of income, no source of extra funding coming in of any kind. We have to balance, we are required by law to balance this $129,343 deficit that we're in now before we can even talk about accepting a new budget for the next year. And we've cut everything that we can cut. The options out there are very limited. Moving pennies around in the tax rate. Right now our tax rate is $2.09 per $100 of property, and those are all designated funds. Each line starts with the schools, gets 99 cents, county general gets 79 cents, debt service gets 22 cents, highways on and on to that equals out to $2.09. So some of those pennies, which amount to about $39,540 per penny. Now, some of those can be moved around, possibly but only in debt service. And we have, like I said, 22 cents allocated for debt service. We have to maintain a reasonable amount of money in that debt service, designated only for that. It cannot be used for anything other than debt. If we pull pennies away from that, that affects that balance. We pay the school's debts, we pay the county's debts out of that, which totals to around $7 million. We have to maintain, and those payments are about $1.6 million when we make those payments. And then, of course, obviously, the school board will reimburse for their debt service payment, and so that replenishes what we may be spending or paying out. But when we start taking pennies away from that, that's going to reduce that amount of money that we have in that debt service. And it gets down to the point where we cannot meet those payments. We cannot create any more debt. I've had some people approach me and said, well, you just need to borrow some more money to fix the problems you have. Based on our debt service, we really are not in a position that we can go out and create more debt for the county to fix the problems that we have. Because we've got to have enough money in that debt service to meet those payments. So we can't, it's a very dangerous balancing act that we're going to have to do here to try to balance this budget. We may can move it a penny or two to balance the budget, but as far as anything else, it's kind of a chance that we're taking. So generalizing, as I said, kind of the condition we're in, I'm very concerned. I ran for this office to do my best to try to manage the county's affairs. That's the reason I ran for it. And I care about this county. This is where I grew up. It's my home. I've always wanted to see McNairy County grow and prosper. I do admit I've had my frustrations over the past 4 years of getting. I've seen a lot of good things happen, but there's a lot of things that have not progressed forward like that we would like to see them happen for us to grow as a county. I don't like to compare us. I don't want to compare us to other counties, but other counties around us that have adopted a progressive attitude toward their communities and their county are the ones that are doing the best. At some point, we're going to have to realize that it's not about us or what our beliefs are. It's what is best for this county, even if it's unpopular, if we want to see growth in this county. I'm going to do my best to try to serve the people of this community, because that's what you did for me. You put me in you hired me for this position, and you hired your commissioners. And I think sometimes we don't realize their importance, what those commissioners, those are the ones who make that decision of how we spend our county's dollars. I can't. I'm the chairman of that board. I have not a vote on that board. The Budget Committee can make recommendations that we discuss to that board, and it's up to that county commission to do what they think needs to be done. And I think in our past meeting, they spoke. But the problem is, we don't have any solution from the problem from those who voted against it. And that's my concern. I'm open to anything that they think can eliminate this problem so we can move forward, but I don't see it happening without some kind of increase in revenue at some point. And unfortunately, that's the only way we can do that is through a tax of some form. I do want to thank you for this opportunity. I hope I've answered some of your questions, and my office is always open to any of your concerns. Feel free to call. Any documentation that I've discussed today is public record, even down to how much each employee makes in this county. So, you're more than welcome to find out where we are and what we're doing. There's nothing can be kept from the public. And so you're welcome to any documentation that we have. But again, I thank you for this opportunity, and I appreciate Mr. Leon Taylor for giving me this opportunity to speak to you about this. So, and I do want to thank you, Mr. Taylor. Do you have any questions for me?
And there's one other thing, Mayor, that maybe you can address. There's concern of a lot of people, is the closing of our hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Can you?
Well, I can explain some of that, Leon. That was nothing that obviously the county had any dealt with, because we didn't own the hospital. Community Health Systems actually owned the hospital. The county had been out of the hospital business since, better not give a date because it could be incorrect, with the last purchase, which was Methodist Hospital. And we basically released all of our first right of refusal all of that went away with this last purchase with CHS. So we actually, with this last purchase, with CHS, had no, we have no dog in the race. And of course, we were not in any position, obviously, to buy the hospital. Of course, there was never any discussion about us buying it anyway. I mean, there was never a price offered. So basically, their offering was to give the hospital back to the county. Well, great. That sounded like a great idea. But what we've got to do now is try to sort through what goes along with this. The condition, are there any conditions on this gift to this hospital? Will there be any other responsibilities that we're not aware of? So it's kind of a fine line there. If there's no strings attached, nothing, and we can deal with everything on it, then we're going to move forward with it and get some health system. We have 3 health systems that are extremely interested with having a presence here in McNairy County. So that's not the case. Now it's just a matter of us making sure that we're doing the right thing and accepting this hospital, that we can move forward. And the county commission gave me that permission to negotiate with them. So what we're looking at, Leon, as far as the future of healthcare in McNairy County, and I think citizens need to understand this, that healthcare trends have gone away from small town hospitals. The inpatient care facilities are basically for small communities are going away. I don't foresee that we'll have a large inpatient care facility here again. We will have the primary services, which are essential. You'll need an ER, diagnostics, radiology, lab. But now there's other plans that can be utilized with that hospital. You know, I mean, there's other things out there that are possibilities that maybe could be used. Of course, there's some of them I'm afraid to comment on because I don't know enough about it at this point. But the options are there. The hospital is in a lot better condition than we had realized. And matter of fact, some areas of it could be open tomorrow. You know, they're not affected by any.
Well, I think it's important, even to me as a citizen, that you know we definitely need an ER.
Oh, yes.
Because time is everything. If a person is having a heart attack or stroke, and we need, you know.
Exactly, and that's that urgent care at that moment we'll make a determination and life or death right there. And of course, that's been my major concern is that, you know, when we have somebody comes to that ER and airway, extremely important thing to have. If you come there and they can't get an airway for this person, well, you're 20 minutes, 45 minutes away from a healthcare facility. That's been my constant fear.
Well, if just say everything look okay and everything, what kind of timetable we might be looking at before we can see?
I'm afraid to give a timetable, Leon, because we've been working, and I know I've heard this it's gotten back to me that no one cares or no one's trying. I don't think people realize that we've been working from the 18th day of April when we found out about this. All this time trying to get with health systems, we didn't know that CHS had considered giving this gift in the hospital to us. It hasn't been hardly a month. So those things work slowly, and I'm afraid to give a timetable. Obviously, I want it to go as fast as we can get it to happen, but I'm afraid I'd say we're still talking about months, possibly, before we can get something in place. Now, to try to help the community feel a little bit more secure in their concerns, the ambulance service is in place.
Okay.
And we have EMTs, and that is not going away, contrary to what's got out there. That's going away, that we want to not have an ambulance service. The ambulance service will remain as long as we want them to, and that county commission has that discretion too. You know, that any kind of decision, if we decide to change ambulance services, that's pretty much up to us, up to the county commission. And of course, there's no plans to do that, obviously, at this point. We still have hospital wing that flies people out from our hospital, or it can go to actually they can go to the site if there's been an accident, and we at least get them transported to a place where they can be picked up by ambulance. I mean by airback, or hospital wing, or to be transported.
Mm.
So there are options out there, and I'm afraid that communities sometimes may be confused or concerned that there's nothing in place here, but there is.
So what would be the process of these talks, of these?
Well, what we'll have to, is once we find out if we can come to an agreement, which will come before that county commission, again, agreement that's acceptable to us and to that board. Once we say, okay, we're good to go, then we will negotiate with the health systems that want to come in here, and basically who's going to offer us the best plan for the community, for the county.
Okay.
With
every gift comes along liabilities as well. So, I mean, I guess that's what the main thing y'all gonna be looking at is the liabilities that come along. What's going, because the way I understand that, the county's already
Exactly. So we know we're not in any position to even consider in the hospital business. We'll have to have one of these health systems will have to run it. Obviously, I mean,
have there been any that have showed interest?
Yes,
Okay.
definite interest. And I feel very confident that any of them who have expressed interest would serve our county very well. So it would be a difficult decision.
If the county owns the building, if a healthcare service come in, will they be responsible for?
Well, see, now that's what we'll have to work out.
Okay.
Now there's options out there, of course. Now, again, this is just totally, this is not in stone. This is just thought processes that I have. We'll enter into some form of lease with the health systems that come in. It can be a very simple, very low cost lease if they're willing to invest back into the hospital and do what they think they want to have in that hospital to do what they want to do. And we could basically adjust that agreement or that lease to accommodate them financially so that they can get that done. We may could even work out a lease where it's a lease to own for that entity. But that's something that we'll have to.
It's got to be worked out.
It has to be worked out, but we're not to that point yet.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that that's going to be pretty soon.
Well, I know that's something of interest of people.
Sure.
Everybody, and a lot of people don't understand the process. A lot of things get in the air about this and that, but I wanted to.
Yeah, because a gift, well, that sounds well and good, but we've got to work through. There may be conditions out there we're not aware of. I'm not going to give any examples, but it could be something that would be. It could be cost prohibitive for us.
Yeah,
it's an advantage. It could be. It's a huge advantage for us if we have. And we don't ever want to get into that position again. So in other words, whatever agreement we work out with this system, that we want to make sure if they cease to exist here, that hospital is going to stay here.
Yeah.
It's going to revert back to us, and we have some kind of stake in it that we can reinvest, or someone can reinvest in that hospital.
Well, it is here. It ain't like they can just pick it up and.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things that we've got to sort through, and it's unfortunate. It just takes time to do that. You can't speed that up. When you start talking about legal issues, they take longer.
And Ron, I would like to say this too. Most of the time when things get shaky, whether in the county, church, and people have a tendency of pointing the finger at leadership, or trying to point out the lack of leadership. But I just believe that you're trying to. People do things out of their conscience and do it. Try. We just don't all agree.
Exactly.
On the same thing, but at the end of the day, we all living in one county, and we're trying to reach a common goal for the good of the county. And I hope that you, the commissioners, all will see that it ain't about our individualities. Exactly. It's about what's good for the county as a whole.
Exactly. And that's what we're in this for. That's what we've got. That's why we're in the position we are. They put confidence in that body, in me, who all's involved in these county officials. The county officials are involved in this too. The confidence to do what is best for the community. And it's like I said earlier, I mean, a lot of times those things are not, obviously not going to be popular, you know, because when you're talking about funding. But everything comes with a cost. You know, we try to stay within our means. The county has always been fiscally responsible. You can just look back in history, we're a very conservative county government. And that's nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm leaning that way myself. But there comes a point when you have to reinvest back in where you're from.
Yeah.
And we hadn't got to that point. You know, when you haven't had any kind of growth to speak of in almost 10 years, you know, you can't run a government, you can't run a business that way. I mean, anybody that's in business will understand that. I mean, you have to have capital. Your capital has to increase before you can get things to happen with your business. So it all kind of ties together. I mean, the county is a business, and I think we've tried to do that, but now we're to a point that we haven't invested back, and I think it's catching up with us. We've had one issue after another that we've obviously have not been prepared for. That's presented from hospitals closing, businesses closing. You can't predict an industry picking up and leaving. You can't. And it's nothing that the county has done. And I think a lot of people out in the community says, well, they told them they couldn't come, or they said they couldn't. No one has ever tried to keep an industry from coming into McNairy County. I'm sorry. I'll argue that point forever. The point that anybody that's in this county government has made every effort they can over the years to try to keep business here. It's a fact that every effort's being made to recruit industry to McNairy County. There's no doubt in my mind. I see it, I deal with it, I talk to these people on a regular basis because that's my concern. Obviously, growth is industry growth. I mean, that's part of it. But again, we've never had the capital to basically to invest more in property and see, and it's catching up with us. So right now the county. I had someone the other day, Leon said, well, you got all these buildings in the county that are empty. No, we don't. Right now, we've got 3 buildings in the entire county, industrial sites, that are empty. And 2 of them have got direct interest. I mean, there's potential industries looking at those 2 buildings now. But there's no other properties out there. We don't have anything that we can offer anybody. You know, if we get a call for, well, we need 15, say 18 acres of flat land that's access to a railroad. We don't have that, you know, and that's what they request. The request that we get for information from these industries, we don't even know what they are most of the time.
Okay.
You know, they'll give a code name, but they'll tell you what the specs that they need. 135,000 square foot building, 30-foot ceilings. If you don't have it, you can't compete. Yeah, so and I think people don't understand. You can't go out there and build, and that's a huge investment. So, well, just go out and build a building, buy some land and build a building. Well, that building may not be to the specifications that industry wants, and it may sit there for 2 years.
That brings me to one other thing, and I ain't trying to get too, but I this is for information purpose. I know that another measure was passed, like that economic growth and development, the $24,000.
$24,000.
Can you kind of tell us?
Yeah. Well, I need to tell everybody right off. Everybody needs to understand those money in county government. You're going to have funds that are called reserves, and when it has a reserve title on it, it's reserved for a specific thing. We have county officials' offices that by state statute that collect a fee that they can use toward advancements in their offices, their equipment, and those are reserved funds. They can't spend it on anything but, well, here's a good example. Say like the Circuit Court Clerk's office is a good example. They collect $4 off the cases, state mandated. Now this is not a county issue at all. This is state mandates that, and they can only use those funds to buy electronic equipment. And when I mean electronic equipment, that's updates to software, computers. That's all it can be used on. And it's, of course, it's that way in Chancery Court. I think they have the same thing. That data,
So it's earmarked.
It's earmarked for just data, and they can't. It sets an account by itself that can't be touched. Well, we have funds that were available that actually it was from the sale of the first hospital. There were some stocks involved there, so those stocks were liquidated, but they came back to the county. So there was about $185,000 that actually came back to the county from that agreement, but they couldn't use it at their discretion. So the county commission at that time voted to put that in economic development, capital improvements, just specifically for economic development. It's been sitting there for, I'm afraid to give a year, I'd say probably at least 10 years, I'd say it's been sitting there. So, and it's not enough money to really buy any property, so it's just not being used for anything. And we can't spend it. So Mr. Crittenden got in with this foreign trade zone group, and I'm afraid this is kind of outside my expertise, but basically what the foreign trade zone will do will give bargaining power to our industries that are already existing here and to our new industries. Mm-hmm. Say like if one of our factories here imports a lot of parts from China for their industry. Well, this foreign trade zone will give them some relief from those shipping taxes that they have to deal with. Mm-hmm. So, and it could be a big bargaining factor with an industry that's coming in here. If they say, well, you remember the foreign trade zone, and if it's a yes, that may be they'll clinch the deal for us to get that industry.
And I'm sure Mr. Crittenden can probably explain more there, and I will go and talk.
Yeah, he can explain it.
But that's what that was for the foreign
trade zone. See, we have to apply for it. When the application was $24,000, just the application and the process itself. And I know it sounds like a big tag figure, but that's just part of it. And we'll be among very few counties in West Tennessee that have that. Port. We got a couple of ports, I think, in West Tennessee that they're actually part of that of this organization. So but this would be a big plus for us, and I think since we're not going to be able to use those funds for anything else, but capital improvement, that would be an ideal outlet for those. So it opens up the county to make it more appealing. Exactly, exactly. As far as economic development. Listen, Mayor, I thank you for the time, and I'm gonna try to get this up as soon as I can, because I think the people of McNairy need to know here. And I appreciate the opportunity, Leon, and I hope that this give people a little bit more insight into how the county works. And I know there's still a lot of questions out there, and there's a lot of things people don't. It's difficult to understand, and government is. Yeah, it is difficult to understand, and we're experiencing everybody right now, and I understand too, because I get frustrated with government myself. I work in it, and I get frustrated because there's so many laws out there that's been passed down to us from the federal level down to the state level down to the county level. So. And usually within the job, it ain't as easy as it looks. No. And I assure everybody that that I'm here doing my best to try to serve what I was elected for, and I'm open to anyone that ever wants to ask me. Well, right, I'm gonna tell you, like I've always believed, and we gonna all a person can do in any capacity is do their best. Yeah. And when you've done your best, you can. That's it. And pray a lot. Yeah, definitely pray a lot. I do that a lot. I said several last night. Yeah. And I keep, because you can't make any kind of decision without some prayer, Well, and sometimes Lord, He works in His own way. Well, I think it's going to all come together. It always work out. So I can't get as far as the new
even though it was voted down last night, I still can't get read my lip no new taxes from you, though, Kevin.
I would love to say it, but I don't foresee that there's any way that we can get out of where we are without some kind of investment back in the county. And unfortunately, it had to come in form of a tax of some form. But right now, obviously, that's been ruled out. So.
Yeah. So, well, I pray for the county. I pray for all that because I'm a McNairy County in there, and I just when I see people doing their job, I like to try to because misinformation can be very damaging.
And there's been a lot out there, and a lot of it may be a direct result of how we presented things. It's got those information.
I think it has a great deal to do with it.
There's no doubt in my mind, and of course, me personally, I mean, I could go back and think how we could maybe handle things in the past differently. What would have made a bigger difference?
Well, we learn from our mistakes.
Sure, absolutely.
And just hopefully that it don't that we don't miss out on too many basic services in the county because
every effort will be made to try to. But I'm real concerned as to how we're going to handle it.
I will say this as a citizen now. I hope the commissioners don't try to because it was voted down. They don't take the attitude that they cut some basic services that people use to try,
I don't think as far as
I mean, that's just me as a citizen.
Sure. But I know, and it doesn't matter, Leon, when it happens or how it happens. The perception is going to probably be out there. That's the reason, but that's not. I mean, obviously we've got to do what to save those dollars, and if we have to, we have to. But I understand that. I don't want it to affect.
Well, where would these meetings take place to balance this budget out? I mean, I know they're boring, but
well, I'm thinking that basically what the budget committee, I have to kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of figure out how we're going to make this work, this budget for next year work, because obviously we're not going to be able to come up with any new funding to make it work. So. I'm hoping that we can get that done pretty quickly and get this budget for next year approved so we can move on and get started, but it may take longer. I don't know. It all depends on how drastic we have to look into these cuts, where those funds have to come from.
Well, Ronnie, thank you for your time, and just hold your head up. And sometimes it ain't as bad as it seems.
Well, and I don't think it is. I mean, again, this is a very strong community in county, and I have faith in the citizens of the county that we'll persevere out of this. We'll come out of this. It may take us a little time, but we'll eventually get headed in the right direction.
Well, thank you, Ronnie, for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk to you.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.